Back at it again with basics. Darn, Daniel, back at it again with basics. What I'm doing here is similar to what I did in the last Back to Basics, which was called writing equations or writing linear equations using graphs. Well, what if I'm not given a graph and I'm being asked to do the same thing? The directions here are exactly the same as the previous Back to Basics video, but in this case, I'm not given graphs. I'm given something different, charts, points. I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Well, this is where we're going to have to be a little creative. Okay. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. By definition, slope is rise over run. I don't have a picture, so I'm going to have to be creative. So rise has to do with the y values, and run has to do with the x values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that this guy right here, this little chart that I have, is a graph. So if I were graphing and I were to count how far up I would go along the graph, I would say to get from 3 to 11, I go up 8. I go up 8. I go up 8. I go up 8. So since y is rise, and I'm going up by 8, my rise is 8. So far, my slope is 8 over, I don't know, over what? My run is the x values because the x is the x-axis. It goes like that. So my run is going to be positive or right 2, right 2, right 2, right 2. In other words, 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2. Oh, it's 4. So my slope is 4. How do I find my y-intercept? My y-intercept exists along the line where x is 0. Look, x is 0. Where? At 3, which means at 0, 3 is my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 3. So let's put it all together. Let's take that black equation and let's write it out. Y equals m. No, I just found out that m is 4. So y equals 4x plus b. Just found out that b is 3. So plus 3. Tricky. Again, what I'm doing is I'm just pretending that's a graph. And I'm imagining there's this point, 0, 3, and then another point, 2, 11. How would I get from that point to the other point? Being creative here. Oh, it's the same exact problem. So let's see if we can do the same exact thing. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Slope is rise over run. So rise is going to be the y value. So rise, wise. It would be wise to rise. 13 to 17 is 4. 17 to 21 is 4. That's supposed to be an arrow, but there's lags. 4, 4. So my rise is 4. So what I have so far is 4 over, I don't know. Let's see my run. My x is my run, so it's positive, so it's plus 2, positive 2, going right 2, going right 2, going right 2. So 4 over 2. 4 over 2 is 2. Cool. All right, and the last problem, when x was 0, I found b. Oh no. I don't have x is 0. Well, let's see what I can do. If I'm not given a 0 value for x, I could still find b, and this is how. What I have so far is I have y equals, m is 2, so 2x plus b. I don't know b. Oh, but look, if I have an x and a y, the way I can find b is I could take an xy. So see how x is 5 and y is 13? I can replace y with 13. I can replace x with 5 and find b. 2 times 5 is 10. Is b all by itself? No. What's in the way? 10. How do I get rid of 10? Subtract 10. Subtract 10. 13 minus 10 is 3. So b is 3. B is 3. So now I know that b is 3. I can take what I wrote up here, and I can take the fact that b is 3 and write out y equals 2x plus 3. Tricky. These are difficult problems. In reality, I have a video on my YouTube where I teach you how to do this using linreg, and linreg is a way that you can use your graphing calculator and find this easily. But I don't have a calculator. The only thing I have in my hands is this stylus and this Band-Aid from when my cat scratched me. That's what I call cat scratch fever. It's a song. Look it up. All right. So I don't even have a graph here. I'm given 2 points, and I'm supposed to write something in slope-intercept form. How do I find the slope if given 2 points? The slope formula. The slope formula gives me an equation and lets me find the slope connecting 2 points. There it is. That's the slope formula right there. All right, let's plug everything in. I got to label my points, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And I'm going to start replacing these letters with those numbers. Instead of y sub 2, I could put 4 up there. Minus is minus. Instead of y sub 1, I could put 5 up there. Instead of x sub 2, I could put 3 down there. Minus is minus. And instead of x sub 1, I can put 0. Upstairs in the numerator, 4 minus 5 is negative 1. In the denominator, 3 minus 0 is 3. And negative 1 divided by 3 is the fraction negative 1/3. Cool. So I have my slope. Took a while, but my slope is negative 1/3. My y-intercept is whenever the x value is 0. So my y-intercept is 5. Well, that's easy. So if my y-intercept is 5, then I can take that red equation up there and rewrite it out and plug in what I know. Y equals m. Well, I just found out that m is negative 1/3. X is x. B is positive 5, so plus 5. These are tough problems. Again, you can use linreg, but I don't have a graphing calculator. If you struggle with that, I suggest you watch it again. Or maybe this problem's almost exactly the same. It's not. It's worse. So I have the points negative 2, negative 4 to negative 2. I'm supposed to write an equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. M is my slope. Do I have a graph? No. Can I find my slope? Yes. How? Slope formula. The slope formula says m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I can change those points or label those points to x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. I go to my slope formula right there, and I replace those letters with the numbers up there. So instead of y sub 2, I found out that y sub 2 is negative 2, so negative 2 minus is minus. Instead of y sub 1, I have negative 4 over. X sub 2 is regular 2, minus is minus, and x sub 1 is negative 2. I have a double negative, so let's make that to a positive. I have another double negative, so let's make that a positive. I have negative 2 plus 4 in the numerator, so if I owe $2 but I get $4, I now have $2 in the positive, baby. And I have 2 plus 2 on the bottom, which is 4, I think. And can I simplify 2 over 4? Sure. This is the problem that I have. In the last problem, I had a point that was 0 something. I don't have a point that's 0 something. So I'm going to do what I did in the second problem and say what I have so far is y equals 1/2 x plus b. I need to find b. How can I find b? Well, if I have a point right here, okay, and let me erase that because that was the worst circle I've ever made in my entire life. If I have a point right there, this is an x value, that is a y value. So I can replace that y with -4 equals 1/2, and I can replace that x with -2. Do some math. Half of -2 is -1, so I have -4 equals -1 plus b. Is b all by itself? No. What's in the way? -1. How do I get rid of it? Add 1. -4 plus 1 is -3. So I had y equals 1/2 x plus b, and I just found out that b is -3. So y equals 1/2 x plus -3. Well, I'm not going to put plus -3. That's crazy. I'm not going to put plus -3. I'm going to put -3. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But you know what I do like? This problem. I'm going to do this problem in warp speed. Are you ready? I have 2 points. -4, -5. And 6, -5. -5 repeats. Now, in the previous problem, I had 2 -2s, but this -2 was an x value, and that -2 was a y value. This -5 and that -5 are both y values. So it appears to me that no matter what, y is -5. Guess what that means? My answer is y is -5, and I'm done. If you notice, if you're being asked to write an equation, and you notice that 2 of the letters are exactly the same, if x's were the same, then you would write out x equals 2, or x equals whatever. And in this case, y's are -5, so y is -5. I can go through the whole process and find the slope if I wanted to, and then plug stuff in and blah, blah, blah. But why should I? Oh, man. Oh, bye.